The punches echoed down the empty hallway like thunder in a storm. It was after school, quiet, almost peaceful, until three towering seniors cornered Tyrone Miller, the quiet black sophomore known for keeping to himself. The tallest boy shoved him against the locker with a hollow metallic scream. Tyrone didn't fight back. He didn't scream. He didn't raise his hands. He simply curled around his books as fists slammed into his ribs. To the bullies, he looked weak, fragile, soft. But they didn't know the truth. The boy they were brutalizing had spent 10 years training in underground gyms, sparring with grown men twice his size. At just 16, Tyrone had already won 2 junior national boxing championships, a prodigy coached by his father, a decorated trainer once known as the Surgeon for the precision of his fighters. But Tyrone didn't move, didn't dodge, didn't strike. Because 3 months ago, his father died suddenly of a heart attack. The man who raised him, trained him, built him, loved him, gone. And at the funeral, Tyrone made a vow at the edge of the coffin. I won't use my fists for violence, only for protection. So every punch he took that afternoon was a tribute to his father's memory. And the bullies mistook that sacrifice for fear. When they finally jogged away, laughing, calling him weak and pathetic, Tyrone stood alone in the hallway, eyes burning, ribs aching, but not broken. Not even close. The bullying didn't stop that day. If anything, it grew worse. Every morning, Tyrone found cruel scribbles on his locker. Every afternoon, they shoved his books out of his hands. Every lunch period, they mocked his voice, his silence, his nerdiness. Teachers ignored it. Classmates pretended not to see it. And Tyrone suffered quietly, choosing peace over power. When his mother, exhausted and terrified, asked him why he never defended himself, he simply said, "If I fight back, I won't stop." She didn't understand. Nobody did. Inside, Tyrone lived a storm he was desperately trying to keep contained. It happened on a gray Thursday evening, right after a heavy rainstorm. Tyrone was walking home along the desolate stretch behind the football field when the bullies' beat-up Honda screeched to a stop beside him. Music blasted. The doors flung open. Laughs filled the air. He froze. They surrounded him. The leader shoved him so hard he fell backward into a puddle. Another kicked his backpack into the ditch. The smallest one slapped him across the face. Tyrone still didn't move, still didn't raise a hand. But then, the smallest bully picked up a broken pipe they found near the fence, rusted, sharp, glinting under the streetlight. He tapped it against his palm and smirked. "Let's see how weak you really are." Tyrone's chest tightened. This wasn't teasing. This wasn't bullying. This was life or death. He heard his father's voice in his mind. Defense comes first, but survival is sacred. And when the pipe lifted toward his head, Tyrone moved. Nobody saw it happen. Not really. Because it happened faster than their eyes could follow. Tyrone stepped inside the bully's swing, grabbed his wrist, twisted, and dropped the pipe to the ground with surgical precision. The boy screamed as his arm locked behind him. The other two lunged, but Tyrone wasn't attacking. He was redirecting. One punch thrown by a bully was gently parried. A kick aimed at his stomach turned into the attacker, falling flat on his back. A swing intended for his face was caught midair and neutralized. No violence, no blood, just pure, controlled mastery. Within 8 seconds, all 3 bullies were on the ground, shocked, breathless, staring up at Tyrone in disbelief. The boy they thought was harmless, the boy they thought was scared. He stood above them with a calm, steady voice. "I don't want to fight, but I won't let you hurt me." There was no threat, just truth. And for the first time, the bullies were afraid. The bullies didn't tell anyone what truly happened. They couldn't admit they were defeated by the boy they mocked. Instead, they went to the school the next day, bruised, humiliated, and accused Tyrone of attacking them. Tyrone was called to the office. Teachers stared with disappointment. The principal frowned with judgment. But Tyrone didn't defend himself. He simply sat silently. Until the door opened. In walked Coach Daniels, his father's best friend, the man who trained half the city's fighters and knew Tyrone better than anyone. When he saw the boy's bruises, he laughed, a short, sharp, disbelieving laugh. "Principal Harris," Daniels said, shaking his head, "have you ever seen what these boys look like after football practice? Now imagine them stepping into a ring with a two-time national champion. If Tyrone hit them, they wouldn't be walking in here." Silence. The room froze. Tyrone looked down, embarrassed. But Coach Daniels wasn't done. He placed a stack of documents on the principal's desk. Tournament photos, certificates, medals, clippings from national sports magazines, even a letter from the U.S. Olympic Youth Program. The bully's jaws dropped. The principal's eyes widened. "This boy," Daniels continued, "could knock out a grown man in one punch, but he didn't. He restrained himself. These boys should be thanking him." The bullies were suspended immediately. Their parents were furious, not at Tyrone, but at their sons. And for the first time since his father's death, Tyrone felt seen. Justice didn't come through violence. It didn't come through revenge. It came through truth. Tyrone's strength was never in his fists. It was in his self-control. He could have beaten those bullies the first day they touched him. He could have humiliated them the way they humiliated him. But instead, he chose restraint. He chose discipline. He chose his father's legacy over anger. And when the moment demanded he protect himself, he did so with precision, not rage. Because real strength isn't about destroying your enemy. Real strength is about controlling the power you carry. The bullies learned that the hard way. And Tyrone, he walked out of that school with his head high, a quiet kid with a warrior's heart, a boy who proved that justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's silent
and unstoppable.